Hello YouTube, let's learn Django, which is, check this out, the web framework for perfectionists with deadlines. I really like that catchy marketing phrase. Excellent stuff. Anyway, not just that we're gonna use Django, we will also use a little bit of Bootstrap, not too much. So if you are a beginner in Bootstrap and in Django, I don't want to show at you too much of both of them, just minimum, so you can get that feeling that you can actually create something beautiful in a relatively short period of time. Okay, so a little bit of Bootstrap and a little bit more about Django. Simple stuff, simple website, no database in background, because I think that it will be too much if I just show it you Django, full Bootstrap, database, administration, creation of tables, and what else? Many probably other scary things like virtual environments. Okay, so when we are talking about virtual environments, I saw that some people on YouTube use that, but I think that for beginners, putting all those things in one tutorial, in one playlist, that will be pretty much enough, and you're just gonna run away and be scared for life. I definitely don't want you to run away and drop all this website programming stuff, because just don't do that. You can be persistent, you can go through this. It's not that complicated. It's simple stuff. If I can do that, you can do that. I'm not, extremely smart, man. I'm just persistent enough to get things done. Yeah, so Django is based on Python, and I will suppose that you have a little bit of Python experience, or you don't have too much, or you don't have Python experience at all, because we will not actually do too much of Python here, like raw Python programming. Just a little bit of things that look like Python. I mean, it is Python, but you will not be scared with all those for loops, while thing, if else and stuff. So if you have a little bit of Python experience, that's cool, but if you don't have it, that's also fine. Where I was? Oh yeah, so when you're installing Python, please note, if you don't have it on your PC already, when you're installing it, please check this, which is pip. This is the thing which can download and install other Python packages. We're gonna use that to install Django. So this is like second or third screen when you're installing Python. So definitely check this. I mean, check everything. It doesn't cost you anything. Anyway, but pip is a must, definitely a must. So let's talk a little bit about editors. You will not do stuff into Python idle, or what's the correct pronunciation, idle. You will not do stuff there. You can use some other bigger editor like Sublime. A lot of people use it. Sublime or Sublime. What's the correct term? I don't know. I'm not native English speaker. I'm gonna use something different. You can use whatever you like, but I'm a little bit Soviet time nostalgic, so I'm gonna use File Manager. And this is File Manager. Really nice, excellent stuff with a lot of options. So check this down there and check this up here. Okay, a lot of options. File Manager, orthodox File Manager stuff, and I will talk a little bit of that more, not too much. But also check this out. When I press Control, see, another options. When I press Shift, another options. When I press Alt, another options. Many useful stuff here. Anyway, so let's go to Google actually, and if you're interested in File Manager, just type File Manager and you will go to official site, and you can have a couple of screenshots here. So this is the place where you will grab File Manager if you like how it looks alike. Okay, and just for a second, just for historic reasons, let's go to Wikipedia page for File Manager. I want you to see something, a couple of things. So this is orthodox File Manager, and let's go down there. And there is a note about Dr. Nikolai Bezrukov, and he is author of 3 decades old cool stuff about all things IT. So let's click here and let's scroll to Soft Panorama, which is his website. This website is so awesome that I don't have a proper words to describe how cool and useful information you have here. The 100 and probably thousands of pages. So check this slogan: may the source be with you, but remember the KISS principle. Excellent stuff. Now don't be scared because this website look like a little bit from 90s. That is really not important. This is excellent stuff. Okay, so let's go to Orthodox File Managers, and you will see not just entries for, HTML pages for File Manager, but for many others of them. Definitely, if you have a little bit of time, if you're interested in system administration and programming, you definitely need to check this website if you have a little bit of time. Just remember, Soft Panorama, absolutely one of the best websites on internet, period, if you are IT kind of people. Yeah, where I was. Okay, let's install Django. So if you are on Linux terminal or command prompt for Windows, and let's just use pip install Django. So this is why you need to have pip to install additional packages. Pip install Django, enter, and we will wait for a couple of seconds. Nothing really special here. Maybe a couple of seconds more. I really like this editor. You know, a lot of people don't even know about this kind of stuff, you know. But if you're old enough, or if you are really interested in these kind of things enough, then you will be pleased with that Soft Panorama thing. Oh yeah, and I sometimes use Tor to check some websites with well, you cannot, you know, be sure enough. Some sites do have nasty JavaScripts and additional things in the background. Anyway, what's happening with our Django administration? So, sorry, installation successfully installed Django. So that's cool. CLS, the clear screen. Yeah, and that's about it. In the next tutorial, we will create our project, the dedicated website into our projects folder, and we will start Django server. So that's about it. That's what we're gonna do. Anyway, 8 minutes. I'm gonna render this video and see you next tutorial. Hello YouTube, let's create our first Django projects. Okay, when you're dealing with Django, you will use terminal all the time. Now, those commands will not be something scary, you will get used to it, and there is actually not many of them. So don't be afraid because we are opening terminal here. Now, we're gonna create Django project inside of, where at least I'm gonna do that, inside of my C drive. So I'm messing around with root. And I'm not using virtual machine. You can if you know how to activate it, but that's not the objective of these tutorials. So the actual command we need is Django admin. Django admin, and after that start project concatenated, and after that name of your overall Django project, which we hold individual projects. So how to think about that? It's like when you're opening company and you don't know your clients in the future, but every time when you get client that needs specific application, service, or simple website, you will create individual sub projects into your major project. So there are two actually commands here: start project for your overall Django project and start up for your individual clients. Let's use that term. Let's think in that way. So our projects, for example, my projects, and enter, and see immediately I have it created here. So this is not just empty directory, there is things in it. Now you're probably wondering how I know that I have this Django admin and start project stuff, and is there any more? Well, yes, just type Django admin and you will see a list of sub commands. Now don't try to understand immediately what this means, and don't try to memorize these things, because if you're a beginner, the most important things here are start app and start project. And there is also a sub command which is actually Python manage. Don't worry, we will talk about that too, and we will use it all the time, which is actually interface to all these commands. Okay, but that's the theory. Anyway, when we have our overall projects created, we need to relocate ourselves there. So cd my projects, and now what? Oh yeah, projects. And now let's see what's in it. So we have manage py and again manage projects in it. Why? Well, you can rename this for some reason, this major one project, and the thing will always work, Django will work, but don't try to rename this one, okay? You can play around with name of this one, but don't mess around with this one. Why? Because there are already things in it that are, and they are, how to say that, hard-coded, so don't mess, at least at now, for them, with them. Anyway, what's that manage py thing? Well, that is actually interface to Django admin, because, let's use our terminal again. If you type Django admin, just try to remember these 4 commands here, up at the bottom. Start app, start project, test and test server. If you type Python manage, we will also have at the end start app, start project and test server. So that's basically like interface to Django admin. And there are some other things here, and we will always use Python manage, okay? Let's open just in a split of a second to see, is there any source code in it? Yes, it is. And by all means, don't change anything here, okay? Because you will definitely mess something up. So that's for more experienced developers. These things are, think about them as hard-coded things and leave them, you know, don't touch them for now. Now let's go to actual projects, and this is major settings for all your other projects. For example, major files. So in it, what that means? That means that this my project is treated as classical Python package. That just means that you will have a lot of things in it that you will use in specific cases. So there is things in it that are important for other things. That's basically it. And that file is empty. So because I'm using File Manager, it's really easy for me to open it into edit and into view mode. F3 for view mode and F4 for edit mode. I mean, really awesome stuff this for File Manager is, but maybe you're using something else. Now, this settings file, settings py, what's that? That's the thing that is overall settings for all your other applications that you're gonna create in the future. So I hate these comments, so I'm gonna delete them. And the important things here is base dir. Why is that important? Because later when you're creating static files like CSS and JavaScript, your settings need to know where you're gonna put it, okay? Why? And check at the end of our settings file, you have static URL. So basically you can list couple of more folders here where you have individual CSS and JavaScript file for those individual projects. Don't just memorize this thing, you will understand it over time. Now another important thing here is database. If you want to try if you're creating some kind of complicated application and you need a database, you can choose by default SQLite or MySQL or some other database. And also for beginners, what is important, what is really important is installed apps. You will list here all your individual projects at the end of this list, because if you don't do that, Django will basically not be able to recognize what you're doing. Why? Because Django doesn't know in future what kind of project and how many of them you will have. So you definitely need to list them here. And that's about that, just list of your applications that we're gonna create. Okay, debug true, that means that you will see all errors, and there will be a lot of them, which is good in your browser. So if this is false, then you will basically, that will be secure, but for you as a developer, you want to see errors, because that means you can change things, you can fix things. So that's pretty much it. Just remember that most important stuff here is installed apps. And you have some predefined Django things activated here, and that's enough to develop the most typical applications from the ground zero. So Django is basically doing a lot of work here. I mean, administration, authentication, sessions, and stuff. Anyway, don't worry about that. We will explain everything. So URLs, what's that? Let me again delete those comments. I hate them. URLs are, think about it as switchboard in all telephone centrals, where you have lady based on request from user, based on remote call, switching into holes in a switchboard to transfer those requests to another place or another telephone. So that's like analogy. Okay, we will explain everything. Why is this important? It is important for routing. So when user hits, not network administration, but when user hits with his browser specific URL on your website, this thing will be activated and will call additional HTML, dedicated HTML files into your website. So this is like worker, which is saying you want to grab this web page on my server. There you go, something like that. Okay, don't be scared by syntax. It is nothing scary too much. And VSGI, that's for when you are done with basically with development, when you wanna publish this on internet. Anyway, 10 minutes almost. I'm gonna render this file, and I hope that you understand a couple of things here. But even if you don't, that's not important, because when we are getting closer to end of tutorial, you will starting to get that overall picture, and then you will definitely know where to go next, because that's the objective of these tutorials, to know, do you like Django? Can you use it for your small projects immediately? Because I think that's really important, you know, to have actually something done in the beginning, and not as is thing with C++ or assembly, to wait 3 months to get overall picture about something specific. So Django is really cool. It will provide you a lot of options, and just don't pressure yourself into memorizing everything immediately. Give yourself a little bit of time. Anyway, enough chatting. See you next tutorial, and I'm gonna render this thing. Okay, YouTube, now when we have our major Django project here set up, let's create individual projects. For example, you have a new client and client demands, let's say in this case, really simple website. Let's do that right here. So is that command Django admin? Well, not directly. We're gonna use Python and this one, manage py, to achieve what we need. So Python, manage py, don't forget extension, and startup. So when you're typing startup, please have that concatenated, because if you don't do that, if you do it like this, the thing will not work. And after that, just name of our site, our project. In this case, I'm just gonna type my site, because I'm not creative this morning. And when we press enter, observe what will happen in the major Django directory. So enter, and now we have our my site folder created here. So is that folder empty? Let's see. No, it's not empty. So what that means? That means that Django did a lot of things for us here. Because when you're using web frameworks in general, that thing will prepare a lot of options for you, so you can develop on that typical common ground, let's say. For example, all those files, for example, admin, apps, models, and tests, they will serve you to develop really complicated services. For example, with database in background. For example, models. This is the file which is empty right now, pretty much. This is the file where you will outline how your database will look like in the future. And also, that thing is not hard-coded. So when you create database, when you create tables, you can change those things. So this is why we have these migrations here. So over time, for example, your big money-making website service demands some change, and you're gonna do that, and then you need to apply all kind of migrations. But don't worry in a front, everything is relatively simple after some time, and we're gonna explain everything. The most important thing here for us, because we are creating simple website, will be views file and yet another file, URL spy, that we're gonna create. So let's actually do that and explain what those files means. I already have that, I was practicing, so let's just create this file, which is in my site URL, in my site folder. So why do we need this many files for our simple website? So the assumption is, if you're gonna use web framework, that you are creating something big and you wanna slice your project into couple of area, when you wanna fix those regions or area of website or services as you need in the future. So we are not creating some hard-coded pure HTML website when you can apply some kind of script and do either automatic changes through all those pages, or you're gonna torture yourself with manual changes. So we need to structure our project in such a way that when we need to mess around with routes, we'll do that in URLs. When we need to mess around with function that we call specific pages, we're gonna do that in views. When we need to mess around with templates, we're gonna do that in specific folder. That's how you structure your big projects, because if you don't do that and you have, I don't know, 1000 pages with databases in the background, you will be overwhelmed. Okay, so these URLs, this file is for routing, not network routing, website kind of routing. When user hits your website for specific path, then there will be routes in this URLs file, and they will lead to somewhere, and that somewhere are functions, and those functions are defined into views. Okay, we're gonna do that, don't worry. So those functions will populate templates with data from database, or if you have hard-coded somewhere that data, then you will populate some templates with that hard-coded stuff. But this is really simple case. I mean, hard coding is not good. If you're gonna do big stuff, you're gonna do that with databases, basically. So URLs, routing, paths, views, specific simple functions which will populate empty holes in templates. So of course we will have one template, for example, and on that template all other pages will be based. But don't rush into conclusions. The thing is really easy after some time. Anyway, every time when you create new projects, you need to tell Django that you have done that, because Django doesn't know in future what kind of projects you will have, what they will look like, and so on. So okay, we have my site project here for specific client. Let's say Django, let's tell Django that we have that project, because we must do that in the settings pie in overall Django root project. Okay, so go to my projects, in this case open a settings pie and just state name of that your project into installed apps. Okay, you have default Django stuff here, but you wanna also say my site or something else for every new project you're gonna work with. So that's the, I think that's pretty much cool for one tutorial. I don't want to go into over 10 minutes. Anyway, let's repeat once more. We are creating simple site. For that we will need view URLs for routing, views for functions, template folder where we will put templates, HTML pages with codes in it that we need to fulfill with actual data. And we will also a little bit later create static folder for static stuff, CSS files, JavaScript, images, and so on. But don't rush too much in this, don't worry in front, because we will explain everything. Anyway, I'm gonna cancel this right now and render, and see you in next tutorial where we're gonna start our first web server, and you will see landing page and also admin panel. Yeah, so I'm gonna cut here and see you next tutorial. Okay, YouTube, now when we have our individual project for individual client created, let's run our Django web development server for the first time. How to do that? What is the command? Python manage py, and you will use that a lot, run server. Now this must be concatenated. When I press enter, observe what will happen here in the major directory. So enter, and okay, DB-SQLite tree is created, and we have status messages of our web server. Now we have system check identified no issues, so there is no need to silence any kind of errors or warnings. But we have some 17 unapplied migrations. Is that some kind of error? No, it's not. It's just the way how Django operates. Why? Right now you have server running on this IP address, localhost of course, and this port, and you can access landing page, but you cannot access administrative panel. So administrative panel is important when you are creating complicated services, and we will do that right here. We will not use it for our simple site, but I will feel that I'm kind of cheating if I don't explain that. So also please know that right here you will see your own requests to your web server, and let's see what's happening with our page, landing page. So there you go, installation works successfully, debug is true, which means that you will see all kind of errors, which is actually good, and there will be errors because we are developing things here, so errors are our friends. But I was talking about accessing administrative panel, so let's do that. Now the path key is just admin, and let's press enter to see what's happening. Basically nothing will happen because we didn't apply those migrations. So to activate our control panel, I will just kill our server here with Control Z or C, whatever, and let's just remove those errors because I don't want you to be scared by them. And now, how to apply those migrations? The thing is really simple. Just type Python manage py migrate. It's simple as that. Let's press enter to see what's happening, but I want you also to pay attention to what's happening here in a major directory, Django directory. So enter, and in a split of a second Okay, this temporary database is created, and when everything is done, there you go. Now you have just primary database. What that means? That means that you can access your control panel right now. Those migrations are finished with OK, which is excellent. So let's run our server again with Python manage run server. Let's press enter, and the important thing here is that now you will be able to see what are you accessing, what kind of path on server you're accessing. Okay, that will be right here. So let's go to our landing page, default one, enter, and there you go. Let's check our status. See, this is first request, so everything is fine. Return is 200, but you don't need to know those status messages in detail by numbers. It's important here that you can just observe generally what's happening with your paths. Okay, so let's do that again for a couple of times. Okay, let me squeeze this a little bit on screen. Again. See, everything is working fine. Let's access admin panel with admin, enter. See, the path is different now. We are going to admin, login, and here's the question: what's the default password? Well, there is none. You need to create it. You need to create basically super user, because if you try with admin, let's see what's happening. Okay, we have error here and also error here. I mean, status what you are basically doing. So let's fix that. Okay, allow me a split of a second here. I think we are cool. So we will cancel our server just for a second. Come on, what's happening? Oh yeah, TLS. And what is the command here? So the command is Python again, manage py and create super user. It's simple as that. So please do have this what? Create. Sorry. Do have this create super user concatenated here. Enter. Come on. So username, admin. Now I'm just gonna use really simple stuff here. The username and password, that will be the same, because we are not talking here about about security. We are just getting things really simplified. So user admin, email address admin at some domain, I don't know, it's really not important in this case. Password, really stupid stuff, domain admin again. So automatically Django will comply that the password is too similar to username, that is too short, that it needs to be at least 8 characters, that is too common, and it's asking you basically, are you really that dumb? Do you want to bypass it, the security that we are providing? Yes, I mean, we are just testing here, so this will not go into production. But please don't neglect security when you are dealing with real stuff that will make money a little bit later. So what about bypassing security? Yes, enter. Super user created successfully. And of course, if we want to log in, we need to run our server again with Python manage run server, enter. And in a split of a second, yeah, so our server is running. Let's access landing page. Cool. Let's go to admin panel. Admin, whatever, login. And there you go. This is default Django control panel, where you can not just mess around with usernames and groups of users. You can also, when you're working with database, have all your tables here listed, and you can operate on those tables. So this is really time saver. Now let's just briefly go through groups, what you can do. You don't have any at the moment, but you can add group and define what kind of rights that group will possess. For example, you can choose from this list, you can just choose individual things, or you can just say, I want this group to have all rights basically, and that's about it. But this is not objective of this tutorial, because we are just trying to get that overall picture. So we will not work with this panel because that's an advanced topic. First we'll need to set our simple website, and then we will deal with databases in next playlist. And of course users, you can add user here, username, password, confirmation password, and so on. Anyway, I think that's pretty much it for this tutorial. Just remember, because Django is absolutely great, in most cases, I mean 99% of the time you will have, even if you're doing drastical changes with your website, with your service application you're creating, still that Django web server will be working all the time. That's awesome, because the moment you save file that you have some kind of changes, that will be automatically recognized by Django, and you will see that here those status messages that Django is doing something in background. Anyway, so in this tutorial we're gonna talk about, we will create one HTML page, one route to that page, and one function that we'll call that template basically. So anyway, I'm gonna render and see you next tutorial. Okay YouTube, let's create our first HTML page in Django, and let's access it through web browser. So the thing we need to do here is first to create templates folder in your project, your individual project of course. So let's do that. Templates, not template but templates, and in that folder we will create really simple HTML page. Okay, let's call it home, for example, HTML extension. Some other YouTube authors, they go through this route, URLs, views, and then templates. I'm gonna do reverse, because I think that we need to start with things that are most common, that are most users are familiar with HTML pages, and then we'll go through views, functions, and URLs, which is routing. So let's just put something silly here, like h1 heading. The content is really not important. Heading, and let's save it, and that's about it. So objective here is just to understand URLs, views, and templates. So one part of job is done. We have home page into templates. So what now? Let's create function which will grab that template. Okay, and to do that we're gonna use views file. Leave this first line here. Why? Because we need to render that specific HTML page. And what kind of functions we need to create here? The thing for now will be really simple. It's almost classical Python function. So def, what is the name of function? Home, you can say index or whatever you like, and after that as parameter, as argument, you need to say request. Which request? Request from your end user, from browser. Okay, so request, and after that, based on that request, we will return to user actual home page or any page. So how to do that? Return request, render request. That's the first thing. Okay, so don't mix these things. Return is probably you're familiar with that from Python. Okay, the order here is render. The render what? That initial request. So triple R, return, render, request in the brackets. Okay, so render what? Render actual page, which will be home HTML, and use single quotes here. And after that, we will just for now use empty dictionary. Why do we need dictionary here? Well, remember, base templates are basically awesome because there are holes in them, and you want to fulfill those holes with actual concrete data. That data, in the simplest possible case, can be pulled out from this dictionary. Now, you can hard code those things into your function, or you can call something from database, but it's thing for another tutorial. Just remember, when you create your function, that function will deal with the request. Based on that request, you need to render something. So you will return to user rendered home page. Okay, so first thing request, then that specific page, and eventual hard-coded things, variables. So there is specific symbols how to import variables into places into template. Okay, so that's pretty much about it. Now let's go to routing, and for that we need URLs file. Let's open it, and the thing here is, what do we need to put here? So the simplest possible case is go to your major URLs file and open it, and let's just grab everything for now and copy paste it to your local URLs. So that's the simplest possible thing we're gonna do. So because we are creating really simple website, we don't need admin panel, so we are going to cancel this. Basically we don't need it, and this line is we need this line. Now here is the thing, we need to include those views into these routes. And how to do that? From local directory, import all views. Okay, so because we have cancelled that administrative panel, we don't need this line. So let's remove it, and let's explain how to structure this route. So path, and what will be the thing in path that web browser, well, not web browser, that user will request. So what file, what directory, what target will be for your user? Let's say in this simple possible case that will be first root of your website, so home page, and these single quotes, that means just that, index page, home page, router of your website. Okay, after that put comma and call that specific view sorry, which will call specific template. How to do that? Views dot home, because this is the name of function, specific one, which is where into views file. Can we access it? Yes, because we have imported right here. Okay, so that's another part of the story. The next part of the story, let's define a handle for this page, for this function. Why? Because it is easier in the templates to work with handles, because you can change these functions, you can change these views as you seem fit, but we will not complicate our lives to changing this command, these functions into real templates every time. This is the reason why we need the handle. We will use handle all the time, and when we need it, if we need it, then we will change actual views. Okay, so handle is just the pretty much the most important thing here. This is the thing you will use to call individual functions. Maybe during the life of your website, that one function, that one view will remain all the time in function, but maybe you want to just switch that to something else, to some other page, to extract some other template. Okay, so how to create handle? Just say name equals, and let's create some handle for this home function, which will be home. You can use something else, but that's pretty much it. Okay, now there is yet another thing that we need to do, and then we will access our page. And this is Django specific pretty much. So when you create things into your URL's local file, you also need to state to major Django project here that in the major roots you also wanna import those local roots. So this is like in a major URL's root file, this is like major switchboard, and you're including as you need local switchboards because you can have many projects. Okay, that's the thing basically. So how to do that? Open this major URLs file. Let's delete this admin because we don't need it. We are not working with databases. Sorry. After this path, we need to use also something else, and that is command include. It is really similar like PHP when you're using that include command to grab additional things like basically additional pages that can be characterized as pure textual files. I don't know, additional PHP stuff, additional HTML pages, I don't know, but the point is just type here include. Okay, and after that let's include those individual URLs. Okay, so we want them to be activated for root of our website, and then just type include, open normal brackets, and URLs from where? From that project, your individual project. So the name of that project, individual, in our case is my site. In your case it can be something else if you have defined it as it is. So I'm just going to use my site here. Okay, my site, and then type dot and URLs. So this means that in your major switchboard for Django, you're including additional individual switchboards, URL routes for individual projects, because you can have dozens of them, and Django doesn't know that in front. So this is relatively simpler, relatively similar like PHP include, just you're including that switching board. Okay, and I think if everything is if I didn't make any kind of errors, I think that will work. So let me check once again what I was talking about. Okay, this is cool. Views, everything is here. And now let's go to see what's happening with our server. Let's run it again. I think that everything is fine. So no errors. Let's go to our landing page and we should see heading. Yes, that's it. So for beginners, I think this can look a little bit scary and complicated, but don't worry, over time, through practicing, as many of us did that already, you will understand. There is no bloody way that you will know everything if you're a beginner on top of your mind. Just remember, you have major switchboard URLs into your major project, okay, here. Then you have locals URLs, which will call views, and views we will call specific web pages, specific templates. Well, that's about it. And in the next tutorial, we're gonna create, I don't know, a couple of more HTML pages, and we will put links. We will create something like header, so we can go to home page, about page, and contact page, for example. Anyway, pretty longer tutorial than I thought. I'm gonna render and see you in next tutorial where we're gonna describe this more. See you there. Okay, YouTube, let's practice routing and views a little bit more. We're gonna create two new pages here, and then we will create corresponding views and entries into URL file. So I will just copy paste things from home page because I'm a little bit lazy to type it right again. So contact page and about page, extremely simple stuff because it's easier to understand even for people who doesn't have a lot of experience with plain HTML. And now when we have our pages, let's go to create corresponding functions. So the name of function will be same as name of web pages. Based on request, we need to return something that is rendered. So render based on request, what specific page, in this case about HTML, and we will also have empty dictionary here because maybe we're gonna need it in future. And let's just save ourselves a little bit of time. We're gonna copy paste this and change what we need to change. Now the function will be contact and returned file will be contact HTML, and that's about it for views. Okay, so nothing fancy here, nothing complicated. Now let's go to URLs and let's define individual entries. So when user goes to about section of our site, something must be activated, and that will be function from views file. And we can call all functions because we have included it with this line here. Okay, so this dot means everything from local directory, in this case everything from views file, which is in local directory. Local in a sense in the same directory as URLs py file. So where I was, yeah, about, and handle for that will be also about. Now I'm using same thing here, but of course if you need it you can change path and function name and handle for it, but a lot of people are keeping this same. So let's also do that for contact section. Don't forget slash, something must be called contact function, name or handle will be contact, and as our site develops we will have probably a lot of other entries here. Now some people will probably ask, do we need to change that major URL file? Do we need to state those paths here? No, because it's already done with this include command here. So every local URLs file in a my site folder is already included here. Okay, so no need for individual entries. There is no need for doubling operations here. So now what? Now let's go to our home page to see, do we have a server running? So yeah, refresh, cool, that works. Let's go to about, and that's cool, and then let's go to contact, and that works. So we have now routing ready and everything is working as it needs to work. Now what? Let's create linking, I mean navigation. And please note the system will run constantly here, so there is no need to stop system when you're applying these kind of changes. And if you really mess something up, then you will see errors here, but that's pretty much rare occasion. So templates, I'm gonna use home for experiments. Okay, href for home, and we're gonna use that for about page. So we are hard coding here things, and also for contacts. Now you think that everything is fine, but let's see, is it? Let's give Django a couple of seconds to apply changes. Okay, so we have our linkings here. Home, that's fine. About, that works, that's cool. And contact, that works. But what if you copy paste this source code to another pages? So the assumption here that everything will be fine, but that will not be the case, and I will explain why. But let's just create intentionally that error, because I want you to be prepared if you run into this kind of problems, and you probably will. When I started with linking, I have run exactly into this problem, and you will see what I'm talking about right now. Okay, refresh, everything is fine. But when I go to contact, what will happen? That's fine, okay? When I go to, what I was talking, when I go to about, that's fine, and when I go to contact, that's fine. But when I'm on about page, and when I wanna go to contact, check this out. Problem. So see this path, we don't have that path defined, so we have that problem. And this is the case when you're hard coding things. Let's recreate problem again. Contact, we are on home page now. So contact, contact again. See, problem. Let's recreate it again. About again, problem. So how to solve this? We will solve that with dynamic linking or dynamic navigation, but we are close to 8 minutes tutorial, and we're gonna do that in the next one, and I'm just gonna cancel and go to sleep and finish for tonight with just the rendering of this video because I'm a little bit tired. So yeah, see you next tutorial. Okay, YouTube, so in the last tutorial we ran into that problem with navigation. So when I click on home, everything is fine, that's cool. When I click first time on about, it's cool, but next time I got this problem with path, with navigation. So absolutely same thing with contact page. Once it's cool, next time it doesn't work. We have page not found 404 error. So how to solve this? Well, some people will say that I can solve this issue using classical pure HTML approach to navigation, which means that here I will use 2 dots in this specific case and slash. And let's actually do that here. It will not take us a lot of time. So I will just copy paste this link to other pages. It will be in a couple of seconds. So I will not waste too much of your time. Okay, I think that, yeah, that's it. So let's go now to our page, and because our server is running constantly, it's a Django thing, it runs constantly, we can go to home now and everything is fine. And let's actually observe status messages here. So see, refresh, 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 and everything is fine. home. That's cool. So we are accessing root of our web site. I mean, home page index in a term of PHP and HTML index page. And when I click on about, so it works. I have path and I have contact from about page. When I switch to contact, it works. So content from contact page and path, so that works. But you know, some people will say, and they are true, that this is not Django way of doing things. So what is the Django way? How to solve this issue? Well, we're gonna learn something new about Django right now. And that is how to substitute these hard-coded links, paths, URLs into dynamic thing. It's not important because we have hard-coded HTML pages here. There is not too much of dynamic thing in background, so we are not connected to database, we are not pulling some data from it. We're just trying to learn here how to mess around dynamically with links in Django way. So what's the new syntax? What's the new approach? Well, we'll learn this, okay? One bracket, another bracket, and in between percent symbols, and in between URL, and this is constant, okay? This left side is constant, right side is a constant, URL is a constant. That's the Django way of doing things. So you must type that every time when you are linking things dynamically into Django. After that, you will point that to somewhere, and that will be home in this case. What is this home? Well, this is the handle of our home page or our view function that will lead to home page. Because you see, this is the beauty of Django routing. When you go to URLs file, you will see that we have dedicated handles here, and they are useful right now when we are messing around with templates. So we will just use handles because it's really simple. You just state one short word, and then all changes here in views, when you are changing those views, if you need it, that will be automatically dynamically applied. So you don't need to type into your what's the term, template or HTML page. You don't need to type this long stuff, views dot that page, views dot that then other page. You just use handle, and every time when you change one of those, that will be automatically done. And we will actually play around with that a little bit, but let's go to template and let's solve our issue. So same thing for about page, brackets, curly brackets, percent symbols, URL, and that will lead to about handle for about page or about view. And same thing here for contacts, so URL, and that will lead to contact page. So let's just briefly copy paste this to another pages. Okay, so our system is running constantly, no issues, zero silenced, so that's cool. Okay, let's go to our website, kind of website, which is basically navigation. When I click on home, that works, on about, that works, on contact, that works, and we can immediately interchange things, so everything is working fine. So you have learned now Django way how to do stuff. Now I was talking about playing around a little bit. Well, let's say you have some Django site on internet in your company or in your house, whatever you do, and you want to play around with your colleagues, with the people around you a little bit, and you are in charged for the administration of your internet website. And maybe one day for 1st April you will say, well, let's just point them to one page. So you will not change these titles here like home and about and contact. You will do that funny thing in the routing section. So we will go to URLs and we will say that it is not important because we are using those handles in templates, which is normal. Now we will play around here and let's point our users on internet, for example, to same page. See how that is easy to do? Classical example how handles are useful. So let's go to our website. System is running and refresh. Home, so they are on home. When they click on about, they will still be on the same path, and they will click again and again over and over again, but they will be on the same home page. And same things for contacts. Okay, see, the path changes. They're using these URLs, these links, but they're on the same page. So that's kind of funny thing to do to your colleagues or whatever you are doing. And if you observe the status messages here, you will see also changes here. For example, okay, home. Sorry, I'm typing that a little bit faster. About page. Something's happening with my system. Oh, let me just restart that. Come on. Okay, that's cool. So now we need to see those changes. Home, that's cool. About page. See, we have them into status, we have them into paths, but they are on the same page. When you check source, same page, same content from home page. Cool stuff. Anyway, I don't want to play around too much because I need to render this and to have these videos less than 10 minutes, because more on that's pretty much boring to watch even for me. And let's switch that to normal operations. Okay, so about here and contact here. And yet another thing, what if you want to define some other routes here? So when user type, for example, root, for some reason, I don't know, it's really not important, you wanna also that user to switch to home page. So it's really easy thing to do. Just type same principle here. So when they access root, just send them to home, for example. And handle will be obviously home because that's what we are using into our template. So system is running, zero silenced. Okay, let's go to root, and if everything is fine, they must see heading here. I don't know what's happening with, oh yeah, that's it. I just need to be patient a little bit, but basically I'm not. So let's run again our server. Okay, see, when they are into root, they are into heading, I mean on home page. And again, and about, and contact, and then home, and they are into root. Funny stuff. Anyway, I don't want to play around anymore. Let's delete this path. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you will need to restart this Django server, but if you're patient enough, you can, you know, wait 5 or 6 seconds to all changes be applied. But I'm not patient enough, so anyway. I'm going to render and see you next tutorial. Hello YouTube. So we have our system working fine, but it's a little bit boring, and we have hard-coded things here a lot. Question: can we export all these things from here, including H1 heading and navigation, so everything to base template in such a way that that base template will propagate through all individual pages, so it will basically substitute them? But if you have individual things on individual pages that you wanna specify, well, individually, if you need to show them, that those individual things will have priority over base template. So let's do that. Let's see how to fulfill those holes into base template. Now, to do that, I'm gonna steal a basic HTML skeleton somewhere from internet, and I will create base HTML page here. You can call it whatever, but base HTML is pretty much obvious. So let's just copy paste that plain HTML skeleton that we stole. Why not? It's a base. So yeah, the thing here is that we need to grab something from those individual pages that we want to propagate all over the place. So in this case, let's just grab everything. Okay, and let's go to base, and now we will create default h1, default for all page, and default navigation. So what we need to do here is to use Django blocks, because if we don't, then we will get results, or we will not have results at all. So these are like default stuff, and if we don't use Django block, let's see what will happen if I just refresh things here. But of course I need to, before that, to go to all individual pages, and I need to import basically that base HTML. So how to do that? We will use that thing URL, like when we were doing navigation. No, we need to extend this page based on base template. How to do that? Extends. What? Extends from base template. Base HTML. Don't forget single quotes, okay? Now, let's grab these things and let's copy them to individual pages. And now you will probably say, what? Sorry, where I was? Home, not home, about, yeah. So some people will say, why do I need to do this manually? Well, because we are creating simple website, and you will of course not in your big project do this manually. The script will do that for you. Which script? Well, that one that you're gonna write, because you will pull things from database automatically. So you will not type every time extends base HTML or something else 100 times for every page, because those pages will be dynamically generated based on end user requests. So based on end user request. Anyway, let's refresh our pages. Okay, so home, that's cool. About, that's cool. Contact, that's cool. So it's cool. We have normal functioning base template working. Okay, see? But here's the question: why it's that we have, when I click on about, I have heading. When I click on contact, I have heading. When I click on home, I have heading. We need to do these, to have these individual H1s here. So what's the issue? Well, the issue is that just a second, that you need to enclose these things into blocks. Okay, so why into blocks? Because then you can use that general template all over the place, but you can also change individual particles into your Django blocks if you need it, when you need it, and then our H1 will be activated. So don't fret, just let's do this here. So how to create blocks? Django blocks, block, and that's standard, and after that name of our block, content. Now after we open that big part of our actual content, generic content, we need to close our blocks and block. So what is the analogy here? The analogy is, see how we have opening title and closing title in HTML. In Django, when you're doing this thing dynamically, you are opening Django, what's the term here? I don't know. You need to open things here and you need to close it. So same analogy as HTML tags here. You need to open it, you need to close it. You need to open it, you need to close it. And of course, in between, you can have many of other Django blocks. Why? Because you maybe want to operate on those individual particles, on individual blocks into individual templates. Dynamically, of course, because that's easy over time. You will learn that. How to create block. So these are standard. and block is standard, and name of heading in this case will be I don't know, head, something like that. And of course we need to close it. It's a principle, so you must follow it. And block. See, so you need to have end block here and end block here. Why? Because this end block is for this starting block and this end block is for this starting block. Now it's cool. Now it's cool. Let's go to our individual pages and let's see what's happening. So again, the same problem. Why? Why is that so? See, we are having hard-coded H1 here, and that's not good. So that means when you are shifted to Django, doing things Django way here, you must follow it from the start to the beginning. That means no more hard-coding stuff. Okay, and now actually let's delete all these H1s. All these H1s. And what I was doing in a base, default heading, yes, and then that will propagate through all over the place. Default heading or anything generic here can be. Generic stuff that will populate all those places into individual pages if they are not defined there. Now check this out, okay? Default heading for home, fine, that works. For about, same stuff. For contact, same stuff. So we have everything in a base template propagated to all other pages, and in those individual pages we just have one line. So here's the question: how to change that H1 heading to individual things here? Well, the thing is really simple. It's almost the same. To save ourselves a little bit of time, I will just copy this to all other pages. Home. Now, no hard coding here, no pure HTML here. Check this out. HTML must be into blocks. So this will be for, yeah, home. And for contacts, this will be for contacts, and you are guessing what's gonna happen. Contacts, and for about also, oops, sorry, need to grab it again. Something is happening with my fingers. Where I was about, in about, yeah. So how is this even possible? I'm not pressing things, okay, Ctrl C. Something is happening with my keyboard. Okay, about. So that's it. Now we have everything into individual pages following the rule that when we are using Django template from start to end in a base template, we also must follow that principle into individual pages. We cannot mix hard-coded stuff and dynamic stuff. It's not how to get the job done. Anyway, I think that we are cool now, so let's refresh. We are on contact, okay, that's cool. About, that's cool. And home, that's cool. So that thing works. So let's explain once more what we have done here. We got from internet base HTML skeleton. Okay, the meta and title, that's not important right now. Now, when you're doing things Django way, you need to use Django blocks. You need to open block, you need to close block. This big block, which is name in this case is content. Then you will put individual things here. Okay, for H1 different block, for paragraphs different block, for navigation different block. Why? Because then that means that you can change them if you need it into individual pages. And we will also continue with this tutorial in doing paragraphs and things with title, and we will specify navigation a little bit more in the next tutorial, but 10 minutes is way too much. Anyway, let's go to rendering basically and see you next tutorial. Hello YouTube. So let's practice a little bit more our generic template and then we'll go to CSS fun. What we're gonna do is we will style this navigation a little bit with raw CSS, and then we will go in next tutorials to Bootstrap. So anyway, see this title here? So it's now by default set to title. Because, why? In our base here, we have set that to title. Now, question is, what and how to set this title Django way, and how to do individual titles that will substitute this generic title. So that's the theory, that's the goal, what we need to do. Now the thing is absolutely same like when we are doing it to body, so there is no difference between head section and the body. We need to open block for title, and then we need to close block for title with end block. So that's the standard, end block, end block, end block. That's the standard. As block here, block here, block here. We are just changing the name of that block. So how to set this? I mean, what to type? I'm just gonna type default title. Okay, and that will get the job done. The changes will be propagated immediately. Our server is running constantly. So check this out. That was hard-coded title. Check this out now when we use Django A. Default title. There on all pages. Okay? Home, default, about, default, contact, default. So you have learned how to basically mess around with head section Django A. Now, here's the thing. How to change this title to individual titles for specific pages. Okay, so for example, home, we will in between base, extending base, and before block for home, because that's logical order. Okay, we have first head section and then body section. First we have title, then we have all around content, then inside that content we have h1. So the logical thing is here first to put title before h1, okay, in individual pages. Where I was, yeah. So before block head we will have block for title. Block title, same thing as in same name as in generic base template. We need to open it, we need to close it. That's Django way how to do stuff. We are doing things manually here, but for you that will be done by script that you have wrote. You will learn that over time. Yeah, and block. And block, and let's say custom title. Custom title on home page. I'm using uppercase here because it's easier to note, it's obvious. Anyway, let's go to our home page and see custom title on home page. So that's cool. When we go to about, default one. To contact, default one. Back to home page, custom title. So now you know how to work with head section. Simple stuff as in a case of body section. Now what? Now let's style, oh yeah, let's do paragraphs here. So for example, I'm just going to save ourselves a little bit of time and I will copy paste this here, and let's change this block and name it P, just P because I'm not created too much. This tag we will change to P and we will put some lorem ipsum text here, and I'm going to internet to grab some of those texts. Lorem ipsum whatever. Okay, let me grab something. Where is it? That Latin thing or whatever it is. Yeah, here we go. Okay, it's really not important, it's just generic text. You can write any kind of script to do this with numbers or letters, but you know, why not just copy paste when you can do that? So anyway, let me arrange this a little bit. Okay, and maybe here. Yeah, that's it. So we have opening P, closing P, that's for HTML tag, and we have opening P block, Django block, and closing P. Okay, I'm using here just P, so it will get the job done. You can use whatever you like. I mean, for example, block para, something like that. Really not important. Anyway, so those things will be automatically applied everywhere. So when you go to home, here we go. When you go to about, here we go. And same thing on all pages. So same principle. If you want to change that to custom, okay, let's just use this because I don't want to waste anyone's time. The name was para and the tag was P, obviously, and we need to close it. Oops. P, and we will put something here like custom lorem ipsum, random thing, something like that. Really not important. And let's see, is that activated on home page? Yes. And on about page will pull out from base template because we didn't specify custom P on our we specified on home page, but we didn't specify on about page, obviously. Anyway, oh yeah, here's that thing. We need a space here to look. I mean, it will work anyway, but why not? So that will work. Okay, let's do something with our navigation. See, 7 minutes already, Jesus. Anyway, so let's put this into ULs, unordered list. Okay, and this will be 1, and then we will end with here. Same thing here. Okay, let's just okay, I think that will get the job done. I need to remove this vertical line and then let's just copy paste this li. Same thing with ending tag. Okay, and ending UL. So we're doing this because we want to apply CSS here. And yeah, where I was. Okay, so we have that into our base template. Okay, home, that works. About, that works, same stuff. Contact, that works, same stuff. So what about that CSS? The easiest things, because we are on 8 minutes. Oof. Let's go to W3 schools. They have really cool stuff. So W3 schools navbar, we're gonna get that from them. That's really awesome site. I mean, I really recommend it. Really cool stuff. So navigation bars, CSS navigation bars. This is HTML, vertical, no, that's boring. Let's get the horizontal one. Where is it? Where is oh yeah, horizontal. That's cool. Oh yeah, that's cool. Okay, so let's grab everything from them. Thank you. W, yeah, how to say this? W in English. Anyway, so check this path, get it from there, or just go to Google, whatever. I'm trying to save ourselves a little bit of time, and we will use that into head section. And in the next tutorial we will transfer this to external file. Anyway, so style. Oops. Yeah, it can be ugly like this, but it will still work. Style. And we need to end this style there. Okay, here. Save. And let's see what we have with our page. Excellent. So we have navigation bar. Thank you, W3 schools. Awesome. But this is kind of ugly, you know, this margin here, this white space. So let's solve this issue. Okay, so for body section, for whole body section, we need to set margin to 0. Okay, and I think that will get the job done. Just a second. I am doing the oh interesting programming error. Excellent. Cool stuff. Cool stuff, bro. Anyway, in the next tutorial we will, as I said, transfer this to external file, learn how to work with static thing, and we can also grab bootstrap files and put it on our kind of server. Anyway, thank you for watching. I'm gonna render and see you next tutorial. Okay, YouTube, so we have our web server running, everything is fine with web pages, but we're not kind of happy because in a base template we have that CSS everywhere around the page. So let's create external CSS and let's basically learn how to import static files, not just the CSS. We can also talk about JavaScript and images here. So we don't need this opening CSS tag and this closing one. What we need is actual CSS source. So let's grab that. We will copy paste that to external CSS file. Now we will create here directory, and name of that directory will be static. That's the Django thing. The static directory for static files. Pretty much logical thing. And now if your website, your project is not too big, you can put all your static files here on this level in folder, but you can also create subfolders. For example, for CSS files, CSS folder, and so on. It's kind of professional thing to do. So let's actually do that. CSS folder for CSS files. Let's relocate ourselves to that subfolder, and we will create style CSS file. Now I'm using here style as a name, but you can choose whatever you like. It's totally up to you. Let's copy paste that code, and let me allow a couple of seconds here to beautify this a little bit, if it's even possible. Okay, so I think it's cool. Now it's a standard layout of CSS file. Nice. Now let's include that CSS file into head section of our page, and this is classical normal HTML stuff, nothing special. Link rel style sheet, and type is type of our file is of course text CSS, and href, I mean location, link, internal link. Now you will probably say what I need to do, just type static CSS style CSS, and let's see will that work, because our server is running constantly, so assumption is that all changes will be applied in a split of a second. But we ran into that problem. I mean, the navigation works, but we don't see any kind of CSS on our page. We do have path, but when we click on it, we have that error page not found 404. Well, that's interesting. Well, the thing is that we need to use here Django way again, and that means that we will not use hard-coded link. So we will open bracket, put percent symbols in between. Now what? Do we need to use URL? No, we will use static here. Static command, and after that, in a single quotes, we will put the location to that static file. Subfolder CSS and style CSS. Okay, and now you will say that everything is fine. So let's check, is that actually case where I was? Yeah. So then we have a problem. Did you forget to register or load this tag? Now that's general error, and if you're a beginner you will be really confused. But the thing is that in documentation for Django, for managing static files, to configure this whole thing to work correctly, at the top of your base template you need to put load static command, so that it will not be extend static or extend base template. There is nothing to extend, we are already in base template, so it's not extend, sorry. You just need to type load static, and that's about it. So let's do that. At the top of our page, load static. Now do not put static into single quotes, and that will also result into error. So let's see what's happening again. And the page is working but still not CSS. How is that even possible? Well, if we go to documentation again, in our settings file we need to configure something more, and that is these couple of lines. What this means is that you're defining the actual path to your static files. You have them, of course, and you have the name of your static folder. That's cool, but where is it? That's the case. So I will just save ourselves a little bit of time myself, and I'll just copy paste this to where? To general Django settings file, and that is in my project, so overall Django project sorry, into settings file, and at the bottom of your file after static URL just copy paste that from Django documentation. And we are not working on Linux right now or BSD or Unix system, so this is not correct, we don't need it. Well, at least I don't need it because I'm on Windows at the moment. Now what this means, we have a name of our folder, okay, but where is it? So we got that location by combining, concatenating base directory and name of our folder. So what is this base directory? If you scroll a little bit more up, at the top of your settings file you will see that base directory, we got it right here. So it's like concatenating all this plus static folder, okay? So if you don't have too much experience with Python OS path join, that means that you are concatenating these two, left side and right side, into same path basically, because in base directory you can have basically many folders. See, this is comma here, so you can list many of them, okay? And I think that we are cool, so let's go to our website kinda, and yep, so that works. Home, that's cool, about, contact, and of course when you go to source and click on your CSS file you will see CSS here, so that works. Now we are happy because of that, but let's learn how to import images somewhere from internet into our actual project. So we will not link some internet here, we will download it to our web server. That's about it. So let's go to our individual my site project into static folder, and we will create images here. That will be folder. That's cool. So let's grab something from internet. Okay, I'm going to grab something from internet, and that will be image from Chernobyl, because I'm reading and watching some videos about that on YouTube, and there is that HBO series episodes about Chernobyl accident. So let's just grab this image, and you can get it if you just type, if you really need this image for some reason, you can get it by typing Chernobyl helicopter. If you go to tools and you set big images basically, so somewhere up there, yeah, on United Nations website. So news, let's save that image as Pripyat or Chernobyl, whatever, it's totally up to you, and JPEG is a format, so save to my site static images subfolder. Okay, so that works. Now, how to import image? It's really simple stuff, classical HTML way. Image, source, and placeholders, I mean percent symbols, static content, subfolder, images, file, Pripyat, and that's about it. So let's see, will that work? Our server is running constantly, so refresh. Oops, I did something stupid probably here. Image source, that came. Oh, JPEG. Well, that was funny. Anyway, now we have our result, and the image is all over the place, so it propagated everywhere. That's cool. Now, some people will also say, why I didn't use blocks for image? Well, sure, why not? That's actually correct. So, block, for example, a head image, and we need to close our Django tag, sort of, and block, and now it will be absolutely same situation. And why is this important actually? Because let's see what will happen when we activate a head block, sorry, this section, when we activate head image block into individual files. So for example, on about page, you don't want that default image from base template, you just want something else. Now we will not grab some other picture because it will take us a lot of time and it's really not needed. We will just remove everything, so this block will be blank, it will be empty, just to see what will happen. So what was it? Head image. I think it was head image. I need to go to sleep definitely. I'm forgetting stuff. So yeah, head image, okay. Now let's delete this actual content and let's see what will be result. So content page, that's fine. Home page, that's fine. About, no image. Now this will work if you need it. It will work, but it will also work if you wanna some other image in your image directory that will substitute this base image from base template. So that's about it. I don't want to talk anymore. I definitely need to go to sleep and render this. So see you in next tutorial. Hello YouTube. So we have our web page working fine with our custom CSS. An objective in this tutorial will be to grab Bootstrap in two ways. First, we will grab Bootstrap from Content Delivery Network, and then we will get actual files and put it on our own server. Okay, so that's the objective. But in the meantime, I just need to fix this about page because I want that generic base image to be all over the place, also on an about page. That will just be done in a split of a second. Sorry. Yeah, I think that's cool. That's cool. So what we need to do is we will of course open base template and we need to change some things. So when we are grabbing additional, I mean Bootstrap CSS, that means that we don't need this custom one. Okay, so we done that. And of course, because we don't have any kind of CSS, now our page looks pretty much ugly. Okay, that's the word. So go to Google and type Bootstrap introduction or something like that, or you can visit this link. Anyway, you will be landed on Get Bootstrap website. So the thing is that when we are talking about Bootstrap, we need to grab two things: the CSS files that we need to put into head section, obviously, where else, and JavaScript files. And those files that are necessary, we need to put them just before closing body tag. I mean, there is only one tag, so opening that is at the bottom of our pages. Anyway, so let's do this. And also you have start a template if you want to grab everything, but that means that you need to type those codes from our last tutorials here. I think it's easier just to copy paste this and put it into corresponding places. So this is for Bootstrap CSS, but also I want to grab, to be correct, viewport, meta viewport. I also want to do that. Why not? After UTF-8, for example, we can put it here. Okay, so what next? Next, JavaScript files. And if you check start on template, you will see that they are right here at the bottom of our page. So let's grab them from here, same thing. We can put it, I don't know, after end block. It will work. So we have it now. Let me fix these empty spaces here. No other things need to be changed on page. Let's go to our page and let's click on refresh. There you go. See these changes, and the font is different down there, but the link are working fine, links. So that's cool. Don't worry about this navigation, we're gonna fix that right now. Okay, but before that, so this is one way how to grab Bootstrap. Now we will grab Bootstrap and put it on our website directly in our folders. So to do that, go to download section and grab compiled CSS and JavaScript files. Just click on download and that's pretty much it. I don't want to waste your time, and I already have that on my desktop, so let's just open it. Okay, so let's see what's in it. We have JavaScript files, couple of them, and CSS files, a lot of them. So let's grab all of those and copy paste it to our project. My project, general Django project, my dedicated folder for our website. Let's go to static, because that's the place where we have static files, and I will create Bootstrap dedicated folder here. I mean, you don't need to do that, but why not? Of course, you can put Bootstrap CSS into this CSS folder, but it will be kind of ugly. You don't need it. You don't need to do that, because it doesn't cost us too much to just create new folder. And now we have Bootstrap files into Bootstrap dedicated folder. Now the thing we need here is name of our Bootstrap CSS file, which is bootstrap.min.css. Okay, that one. So let's do that. And the results will be absolutely the same. We are just changing the link to our own file. Okay, we don't need integrity here. So static, we must use that. And where is our file? Bootstrap CSS, that's the path, and the name is bootstrap.min.css. So I think we are cool. And now when I refresh our page, we'll get absolutely same results. Refresh, and that's it, same results. But when you go to view page source, you will see our own path. So when you click on it, there you go, Bootstrap source code. Nice. Okay, let's fix that navigation. So let's go to Bootstrap navbar. You can type this navbar into search and you will get that page, but you can also go to Google and type Bootstrap navbar example or Bootstrap navbar page. So let's grab something from this. Yeah, let's grab everything from here, this source code, because then we will get this result, and then we will remove some things that we don't need. So copy, We're gonna do that into block content. Now the reason why I have this here, because we're gonna copy paste this to our Bootstrap source, but let it just be for now there. So yeah, this is our Bootstrap navigation, and let's see what kind of mess we have right now. Okay, that thing works, but we have mixed Bootstrap navbar and our own navbar. So let's delete this search and place and disabled and drop down and links and navbar. We'll just be here happy with classical links. Okay, so we will delete a lot. So form, we don't need it. Disabled, we don't need that. Drop down, we don't need it. What else? We have a link, that's cool. Home, we also don't need it. So we are left with link and navbar. Yeah, we also don't need this. Up to where? Up to approximately here. And I think that I simplified things a lot. So let's see what's happening. Okay, we just have that one link, and that's cool. That's all what we need. Now let's change the color of our navbar to dark. Okay, let's see what's happening. Oops. Dark for background. Yep, that's it. That's cool. Now let's change those links to, I will just copy paste this. Okay, and the actual links will be this one for home page, and we need to put it here. So that's for home page. Down there we need to do that for about page, and down there also for contact. So what is the link? About view, I mean about handle, that will lead us to that function, corresponding function into views file. Contact. So that's kind of cool. And let's delete our original navigation. Okay. Yeah, so we have our web page working pretty much fine now. We have that navigation working, website, that's cool. So what we're gonna do in the next tutorial, for example, I don't know, I will figure out something. The objective here is just to have, we're gonna create gallery basically. We will grab a couple of images and then we'll create a gallery, whatever, using couple of snippets from carousel. What is the correct term of pronunciation? Anyway, we're gonna grab something from this page. So thank you for watching. I'm gonna render and see you next tutorial. Okay, YouTube, so let's turn our simple website into gallery of images or some kind of news-like website. So we will leave navigation and heading and this paragraph like it's just base thing. So what we're gonna grab from Bootstrap is, you will find that on carousel part of Bootstrap. What is the term? Carousel? I don't know. I'm not native English speaker, so forgive me if I'm making some pronunciation errors. So what we need here is, well, this is too simple. Okay, let's grab this one. That will get the job done. We're gonna just copy paste things here, and we will use For now, just one image, and then we'll also download a couple of other images. So yeah, that's the general idea. Let's delete this image and we will put that our gallery, whatever. So the source for our image, static images, Pripyat JPEG or something else. It's totally up to you that you have on your PC. Okay, so copy paste will get the job done. So let's refresh our page, and if everything is cool, yeah. So we have our image stretched from left to right. We have controls here. Okay, so it works in one side, it works in another side, and it will also work if we leave our website for a couple of seconds. Now what? Now let's grab, if you don't have any image, you probably have, but anyway, I'm using public domain images here on free images website, and I don't want to waste your time. You can grab image whatever you like. So I already done that, and this is just these two images. So let's just copy paste it. Let's move it to our overall project, my site, which is specific project, static folder, obviously images, where that Pripyat images. So yeah, let's import them. The names are image1 and image2. I think that will get the job done. Okay, refresh, and yeah, I need to click, obviously. So that works, that works too. So cool. Let's resize a bit to see what's happening. Yeah, I have that problem with navigation for some reason, because I probably took too much from navbar, but anyway, that's not priority at the moment. You can always copy paste it from Bootstrap, but this works, that's what I need. So that's cool, awesome. It works on every page. Anyway, for example, this is gallery, but let's transfer our website into kind of default index page for some news website. That will for now be relatively static, but you can also create scripts that will populate either directly from MySQL database, that will populate pages, or you can use web framework, Django, Python and things, but you can also use PHP or Laravel, whatever you like. It's totally up to you. You can create your website with Perl or C++ if you like. That's not the problem. Yeah, what I was talking about. So cards, yeah. Okay. So when you're dealing with cards, if you don't have too much experience with Bootstrap, you have image, then title, then a little bit of explanation, and then link to another big image or to specific big article on your website. Okay, so let's grab that to see what's happening. And maybe we want to save this. Yeah, I mean, we can use that down there. We can always delete this, but let's for now use it down there. Okay, so this is the one. Let's use 3 of them, because we will copy paste our links down there here. So that's for Pripyat, and this is for image1, and this is for image2, and let's see what we have. Oops. Image2, I think we are cool. Let's see what's happening. Refresh, that's cool, but we have this problem, kind of problem. So how to solve this? Well, let me delete these big images here, this album kinda, because I want to be focused on that thing. Okay, so let's fix this. So what I want is to all these images to be distributed dynamically, normally through rest of the pages. So how to do that? Let's see what Bootstrap have here. List of groups. Okay, kitchen sink, nothing. Header, footer, nothing. Where is that thing about rows? I think navigation, that can be used, but it's not too much of interest for me right now. Where is it? I know that there is somewhere. What's that? No. Card groups. Yeah, we can use card groups. That's it. So let's copy paste this. Okay. So images, source, again that source. Images. Oops, what am I doing? Pripyat. JPEG. That will work. So let's copy paste down there. Okay. And let's see what we have with same image on our website. Well, this is interesting. So I probably created that problem with, yeah, single quotes. One single quote can mess whole website. So that works, okay? Now what? Oh yeah, let's change images. Image 1, image 2, save. And that works. So you can imagine how your website will look like basically here. You can have 30 dozens of links or articles on your website that you can either type dynamically if you don't have too much, type manually if you don't have too much experience, or you can pull from database, from MySQL database, for example, dynamically if you want to practice a little bit. I mean, the truth is here that you can create Bootstrap website, news website with pure Python if you want to hard code things. You can use Django. You can also use hard coded PHP. You can use Laravel or any other web framework. The thing is, well, when you're looking into things from programmer point, then your mindset is a technical. But question is, how you gonna create money? How you gonna pay your expenses? How you gonna develop your product on a market? And that's the major question. So it's totally up to you to choose technology, or if you work for a company, that technology is probably already defined. I'm using here Django, but you can do this in total hard-coded HTML if you like. And actually a couple of years ago, 7 or 8, I created some money with hard-coded HTML website with around 300 hard-coded pages. They were really similar, so it was really easy for me to change things, but I created some money with that website. So don't be locked down into specific technology, and if you don't know how to pull things dynamically into Django or PHP, the fact is that you can do that if you set your mind to. So you can create yourself site in Perl or even in C++ if you need it. Yeah, it's a kind of drastical example, but still you can do whatever you like if you are really good into something. So to be good in everything demands time. Anyway, let's just copy paste this one more because I want to see what's happening when I use 2 groups. Okay. Maybe the site will look a little bit nicer. Yeah. So you can imagine how your website will look like. Anyway, I'm gonna conclude this Django sessions about simple website. You probably have a lot of idea right now. And now what? Now you can remain with Django, go back to, for example, PHP, whatever you do, to any other language or framework that you like, because you know, some people, they like Django, some people like Laravel. The fact is that everything demands time, so that's the price you need to pay before you get results, even knowledge or money. At the end of the day, the knowledge is money, so it depends what you're gonna do. Anyway, thank you for watching, and thank you for being with me through these, I don't know how much, 10, 11, 12 tutorials with 10 minutes each. It's kind of long, but you know, I hope that you probably learned something. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you didn't, please subscribe. There will be a lot of content on this channel, not just Django and Python. There will be a lot of web development and GUI development with Python, Kinter, C++, so on. We're gonna see. Anyway, thank you for watching and see you in next tutorials.